blowing harder than Hurricane Ian. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but get it on. Mandate, get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
Handball, Brian.
Oh, my God. You have a wonderful aura.
All right. Well, I was going to get into Peyton versus Eli, but we're a little behind on our information, Max Pata. So,
Are those football players?
yes, I'll get into that in a second. First, it's hotter than shit outside.
And you're dressed like a cholo.
I swear to God, that's exactly what you look like. Where's your lowrider?
I had to go do Peyton Manning's talk show, as it was described to me.
No.
Can I just say for the listeners, Adam will often talk about his sweaty brow. You talk about your sweaty brow, you get the sweat going on there, and an internal monologue for me is like, what a fucking bitch, just get over it. I'm looking at your glasses and they are constantly fogged.
They are fogged.
Right here by your brow.
Yeah, it's 102 degrees, and
I know,
I just
but
jogged
it concentrates
across the street.
right here.
Yeah, I've got a sweaty, my head is hot, and I have to keep wiping my glasses down.
I love how we're all so dumbly trying to make fall happen just by dressing like it. It's
Take the
not
hat
happening.
off, essay.
Well, it's not contributing to my heat. What is contributing to my heat is it's nice in here. It's
Beautiful
100 plus degrees outside, and I've been trying to move stuff. And I'm trying to move out of the one shop, and it is not moving weather.
No.
Moving is not a comfortable thing. It's not something you look forward to. It's not something you cherish. But moving in the heat is brutal because it's not even an air-conditioned apartment going out to the moving van, moving end tables. I'm moving cars and equipment. Everything's just wide open. It's a sea of asphalt, and it's hotter than fucking balls outside. So there's that.
I've moved twice in the rain, and I would rather move in the rain.
Oh yeah,
I
would too. Everything is better when it's cooler outside. So I got up early this morning, went to a studio that was beyond downtown, very very far away, and
Covina?
I don't know. All I know is I could see downtown pretty clearly from where I was in
The other
between
direction?
where we are now. Yes, and so then I had to. It was described as you're going to go do Peyton Manning's talk show.
Fun.
I said fun, and then they pick a topic. For me, it was cars. We're going to talk all about cars with Peyton Manning. And then I'm like, I really like Peyton Manning. I like his post-football life. He was a little bit of a stiff when he was playing, it seemed like, but now him and Eli are tearing it up. They're funny. They're doing collaborative stuff. They're both being very funny, interesting dudes.
Are you familiar with the Manning cast? That's where they do commentary.
Yes.
I believe the Monday night games.
Yes,
Yeah.
and lots of stuff. Max Pat, I needed all this on a piece of paper, this info I was trying to get over here at some point. I don't need it now that you're taking the time to write it all on the screen, but whenever I was talking to you from the back of the car, that's what I was looking for because I got stats. Anyway, went to this location, hair and makeup, options for wardrobe, blah, 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 and started to realize, and I had ideas. I told Sonny I was going to go see Peyton Manning tomorrow, and that was a good thing. At some point, I had a thought about maybe I'll get a jersey and he can sign it. I'll give it to Sonny. I ran out of steam on that one.
You go Broncos or Colts in that respect.
I guess you got to go Colts on that one. But then I got there, and I was kind of looking around. I was like, I don't see Peyton Manning anywhere. And then I also was having these thoughts. That guy seems like the busiest guy in the world.
Yeah.
He's doing every TV show. He's doing every commercial. He's flying out to L.A. to sit down with me. So then I found out that it started to dawn on me that he physically wasn't in the building, but then we were going to sit down in Video Village or sit down on a set, and I was going to speak into a camera. So I'm like, okay, so he's coming in remote he'll interview me remotely. I had some thoughts, some of which I'll share with you in a moment.
Like, where's the driveway van?
Yes, like,
Yeah,
where's the
in
driveway
Fox
van?
News world.
I got picked up at the crack of fuck. I sat in traffic, hair and makeup, blah, 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 trying to turn around to get here, hard out, all that good stuff. And at a certain point when I sat down, I realized that it would be the segment producer that was interviewing me about
my
all
God.
this stuff. And so
They're just going to insert him
there
in
was
later.
no sighting of Peyton Manning, no discussion, no, hey man, big fan, no anything with all the dreams. You can keep it on the screen, Max Matta, of
We're going to be running
of the Peyton Manning discussion.
Not even Eli.
Nothing.
No Archie.
Nothing. And then at some point, after 2+ hours in the chair talking about cars, I was burnt out on talking about cars.
Oh,
I was
shit.
like, I got to get out of here because I got to sit in traffic. I got to get back here. We're moving. It's hotter than balls. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, no pay, no Manning.
No pay, no pay.
No
No pay
nada.
10.
But
Nary a Manning.
Yeah.
it's understood that Eli is he's
Lucky to be there.
He's Michael Anthony versus Eddie Van Halen in Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
He's on stage. He's pulling his weight.
We're all happy to see him.
But he's just a tier below
Right.
Peyton. But I was thinking about this the other day. You can clear the screen now, Max Pat. I got my page. That Eli is coming on strong in the comedy department. He did a whole thing where he put on a prosthetic nose
right.
and a fake wig and went and tried out for Penn State as a character. And
A walk-on.
he's coming into his own comedically, maybe even passing Peyton comedically. And as a player, let's not forget, I know he's always second fiddle guy. He's got 2 Super Bowls, and Peyton Manning's got 2. Each brother has 2 Super Bowls. Peyton Manning, as it was pointed out by Kevin Hench when I was explaining to him, Eli's first Super Bowl was against the 18-0 Patriots, or 19-0. I think they would have gone
Including
to 19-0.
the playoffs, yeah, it would have been.
18.
It was 16, 17, 18. Two playoff games.
18, and they were unbeaten. They were a jugger fucking knot. They were unstoppable.
They had already filmed a Super Bowl commercial where they moved into Perfectville alongside the only other undefeated team. New neighbors are moving in. That. It was obviously, contingent upon them winning, but it was filmed.
They were 12-point favorites, which is a lot for a Super Bowl. Not too many higher in terms of spreads.
All-time team.
Foregone conclusion. The only hope was that the game might be interesting into the third or fourth quarter.
We'd have to check. But I think the Giants were a wild card team where they were 10-6. They were, they were good, but
they started off 0-2. And the Giants did, and barely won the third game in Philly or something on the last second, quarterback sneak, a goal line thing or something. I mean, they could have been 0-3. Heavy underdogs. And Eli beat Tom Brady and Belichick.
height of their powers.
At the height of their powers. And so that's a Super Bowl win. The Colts win with Peyton Manning.
The Bears in 06?
Over the Bears is 07. The page says 06 season. They beat Rex Grossman. Who's Rex Grossman? I don't know.
There's a reason you don't know.
Ask his mom. Well, this is a thing. First off, you beat Tom Brady, the GOAT.
Had the Patriots won that game, there would be no question who the greatest team of all time was.
So
It'd be
then
silly
why,
to debate.
why is Eli the lesser Manning?
This is what I'm saying.
You had a lot of help.
You beat the Bears. You were supposed to beat the Bears. Rex Grossman, I don't know what he did in the league. He wasn't anything. Kind of marginal. That's who you beat, but you beat Tom Brady. So this is basically, it's like saying, I'm a heavyweight boxer. Eli beat Larry Holmes and he beat Mike Tyson. And Peyton Manning beat Michael Spinks and Ronaldo Snipes or something. Like, yeah, they had the belt for 10 minutes, but that's kind of my point.
Sure.
Like, if I said this guy's a heavyweight, well, he beat Ali and then he beat Tyson or something.
Shit, he's the champ of all time.
That's an all-timer. Peyton also, then he won again with the Broncos against the Panthers.
Again, he had a lot of help there.
Cam Newton had a bad game, and basically the winner of that game was the Denver defense.
Oh yeah,
I think it was
Von Miller,
who just gave Newton fits back there.
He was the MVP, I believe. He was the reigning MVP that season. He was great.
And he was great, and then the defense just gave him fits. He got out of his rhythm. He almost seemed kind of broken at the end, or like he was done trying, and Newton's trajectory's been kind of downhill since then. So he's got 2 wins, but against, all right. But Eli beat Brady and Belichick twice. Twice. He beat the greatest dynasty of ever, and the GOAT ever, and the quarterback who plays the biggest in the biggest games ever. No one will ever eclipse his records. He's got 2 losses from one dude. Why is that dude second fiddle?
Should get a little more respect.
I'm saying.
The gap should be narrower, for sure.
Yeah, I would.
I think anyone who watched the games back then or just followed football knows that Peyton was the better talent. But that said, it should not be a chasm. It should be a more narrow gap.
I don't know if Peyton with the same. Also, Eli had a couple spectacular plays in those wins over the Patriots too, like real big time plays. I'm just saying.
Give Eli his due.
I'd rather, in a weird way, be the guy who, like I said, like your Super Bowl wins. Who'd you win? The Bears or Carolina or something. I'd rather go Belichick's, the Patriots. Tom Brady, 2 times. Well, we only faced him twice, but I beat him both times. I mean, that's 100% incredible.
Of the time.
Pretty sure Peyton went to another Super Bowl and lost. So, but Eli's got the 0 losses under his belt. I think Peyton took the Colts and lost against the Saints.
Saints, yeah. I think that was the Saints, the onside kick.
Yeah, the onside
game.
kick to start the second half.
All right, just a thought. I would have shared it with Peyton myself, but had not.
Good thing you didn't.
2011 Giants were 9-7.
There you go.
And
above average team, barely.
Went on to beat the unbeatable Patriots in the biggest game ever. All right. Now there is a new batch of reviews and picks. So says Max Zapata from my compatriot over at the old Acme Theater, John, who sent these things
the unearthed
over.
some from his archives.
Oh, these are unearthed.
Yes, reviews. I did not keep many of these things, or I did, but then I moved, and then I was always one of these people who went, "Oh, I should keep this," but when I said keep it, I meant like cut it out and then put it in my sock drawer, and then at some point you'd spill a beer on it, and then you'd throw it away.
Not alphabetize it.
No.
The man's an archivist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. John McCann.
Well, we've got what are these things called? The flyer? What are these things called?
Pamphlet, the leaflet.
The
Yeah.
leaflet.
Oh, yeah, we had to hand those
The show
out.
was called Acme Comedy Theater presents Acme, Muu-Muus Girl Drinks, starring the Acme players.
I like both those things.
Adam Carolla's bio says, Adam Carolla hails from North Hollywood. His credits include audience warm-up for the new Candid Camera starring Dom DeLuise. Dom is a journeyman comic actor whose credits include Fatso, the Ziploc baggy commercials, and the Cannonball Run trilogy. This heavyweight comic's unique blend of satirical wit and rugged good looks have made him an international favorite.
Did you play Dom DeLuise, or I misunderstand?
No, I think we were.
It's all about Dom DeLuise.
We were all in charge of writing our own bios, so I just thought it'd be funny if mine morphed into a Dom DeLuise bio. I didn't. When Chris read it to me at first, I was like, "Why is this?" I thought it was from a newspaper or something. I was like, "Why is this about Dom DeLuise?" And then I realized, oh, that was me being stupid and think it'd be funny. Also, I had nothing on my bio. I taught comedy traffic school for Let Us Amuse You.
Definitely beefs it up.
Yeah, but
That's good.
DeLuise.
That's good.
Yeah.
That holds up.
Here's the review from the Los Angeles Reader on the show. Producer-director M.D. Sweeney's Acme Muu-Muus Girl Drinks proves a fun evening, but only half as fun as Acme's Sunday show. It's not that ribs were not tickled, but the chef d'oeuvre never materialized. With 18, it's the word hors d'oeuvre. It's the second half of d'oeuvre.
Chef d'oeuvre.
Yeah.
Chef d'oeuvre.
Chef d'oeuvre never materialized. With 18 sketches.
By the way, that was always one of my grandmas, too. She was like, it's pronounced hors d'oeuvre.
No.
And I'd go, everyone says hors d'oeuvre. And she'd go, but it's hors d'oeuvre.
Hors d'oeuvre.
And I would go, okay, but I'm just going with hors d'oeuvre because I don't want people to think I'm weird. And she's, well, you'd be incorrect. That's
Okay, fine.
Okay, Brian's grandma.
Did anyone else's weird family call it whores d'ovaries?
Horsey's Duvers was our family.
Yeah. With 18 sketches and one intermission spread between 2 hours, you gotta have one of them there, Chef d'oeuvres.
Another.
Or your goose is cooked.
Oh, boy.
The most promising features of this series are sequels spun from the Sunday show, both VBR and The Tape, written by Adam Carolla, follow the unintentional exploitation of a 20-something son by his befuddled geezer grandparents. Both are touching in their own quirky ways. Also, nice is Girl Drinks opening Almost Alive.
I don't remember writing that bit, The Tape. I don't know what it's about. I have no recollection of it. But also a spin-off from the Sunday show. I was never in the Sunday show, so I don't know what that is.
Take the credit.
Well, there's no more about you, so
All right.
we can move on.
I'll take the credit, though.
Apparently, Chef d'oeuvre is like, if oeuvre is like your body of work, the Chef d'oeuvre is like your masterpiece.
But
I didn't know
also, we
that.
shouldn't have to be working this hard
Yeah, I was gonna
to read a
say.
review of an improv show.
Yes.
Who's this for?
Yeah, and in the program, it says you wrote, at least on this page, you wrote 3 sketches. One called The Tape, one called Dynastic 2000.
Oh, yeah, I do remember the Dynastic 2000. The Dynastic 2000 was one of those like 80s, early 90s workout infomercials. And the workout device was basically a mop handle that was about 18 inches long that had like tape on it and stuff like this. And it was just a Dynastick, and you could hold it, like and run in place, or you could use it, work on your abs by, laying on your back and do it. It was a piece of wood.
Yeah.
It was a dowel that was inert, but for some reason we turned it into this big info commercial.
Good commentary on the time.
Yeah, because I really don't know what you're getting out of the Thigh Master per se, but it was kind of a send up on that. What was the third one I wrote?
The Best Man.
Sounds
It was
familiar.
you and James Wickline in it.
Yeah, that sounds familiar too. I really have no. I don't know. I don't know if there's something wrong with me. If other people would have a recollection of these bits, I really don't have a recollection of many of them. I tend to remember other people's bits more than my own because I found myself standing in the wings and enjoying their bits.
But also, it tracks for you not to remember your own best work.
Yeah, I was just on to the next thing, I guess, is what it was.
You've done a fair amount of bits in between then and now.
It's easier with the Man Show because once in a while Dr. Drew will start talking about a bit and then we can go watch.
Right.
I can physically watch it. I'm sure if I watched a bit.
Oh, what I would give to watch Muu-Muus Girl Drinks.
There's there's no tape of any of it. But all right, well, in the reviews of Acme, I was always mentioned. I never really thought of myself as a sketch guy, but I guess my writing was okay.
Well, I'm really curious about the tape sketch because it said it was touching, and I would very much like to know more about this.
I don't remember that. My big hit, the one I remember, and I think it got spun off into some other animated thing, maybe Animaniacs or whatever. I had one monologue that was like my tour de force monologue, and it worked pretty good most nights. And I spun it into I think I ended up doing a version of it on the Man Show, but My one monologue is I got out there and I was the baseball coach of the little leaguers, of the 8-year-olds, you know. And I would say, all right, you know, before the game, everyone grab a knee, like circle around. I'm just facing the audience. And I was like, all right, so now listen, you know, hand across the arm, and let me give you the signals. You know, hand across the arm, that is steal. Belt buckle, that's bunt. Was that always bunt?
Oh, yeah. They always start with the same letter.
Belt buckle was the bunt. The steal was the slide. It was like the hand slide. And then a hand across the chest, that meant take. But you got to look for the indicator. If you don't see the indicator, there's no sign. I'm going to be out here giving signs, but the indicators, I go to the ball cap. I go to the brim, I go to the bill, the ball cap, that's the indicator. Once you see the indicator, if I go to the belt, that's bunt. But if I go to the belt without the indicator, that is not bunt. Because the other team's looking and the manager's looking.
Like Simon says.
So I'm out there and I'm doing all the things. You know, and I got into this patter, which is, all right, Tommy, let's get up there. How about a bingo? How about a bingo? It just takes one. How about a bingo? What about a bingo? How about a bingo? What about a bingo? Come on now. How about a bingo? What about a bingo? What about a bingo? How about a bingo? And then I'd go, all right, take a look. Step out and take a look. And I'd be doing the thing. And then I'd, you know, go do the indicator and then go down to the thing. And obviously the kid was not doing anything. I said, take a look now. Take a look now. Take a look now. How about a bingo? What about a bingo? Going to the indicator. And of course the kid, Tommy, take a look now. Going to the indicator. Going to the indicator. Down to the belt buckle. And at a certain point, I was getting frustrated because he was not picking up any of the signs. And at a certain point, I was just like, just bunt.
Bunt.
He's bunting. Everybody. He's bunting. Infield, move it in. He's bunting. He will not look. And I just got frustrated and spun up. And that was the bit. It was the baseball little league manager who couldn't
Communicate.
Couldn't pick up the. Mixed in with this weird, what about a bingo? How about a bingo? What about a bingo? How about a bingo? What about a bingo? How about a bingo? Thing that people liked in a weird, like, hey, he doesn't have to call me Ray and he doesn't have to call me Jay. You know, there was a patter to it. That bit got a little traction, but that was about it for me. All right. Well, thanks to you, John McCann, for sending that in. His new book is out, by the way, How to Run a Marathon in 13 Years. So show a little love to my old compatriot, John McCann. What's John McCann's bio say on there? Is his fine? I couldn't type, so I must have dictated mine to McCann. But
John
McCann's
bio is
probably
not on here.
Oh, it isn't?
Where is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh. Did everyone else?
There it is. Sorry.
Did everyone else write a goofball bio praising Dom DeLuise, or is that just me?
John P. McCann. In addition to writing for Tiny Toon Adventures, John Patrick McCann is a staff writer for Warner Brothers' new animated series Animaniacs, debuting in September on Fox. His acting credits are more modest. They include unfeatured extra work in a Dodge truck commercial and the role of the ashamed office worker in a Japanese industrial film.
See, there you go. A little self-deprecating humor.
What was Paul Ruggs, who ended up being the Animaniac?
Paul Rugg was born and is the son of his father and mother. Paul would like to say he's an accomplished actor, but he can't because he's unable to cry on cue unless pinched. Paul is a writer and story editor on Steven Spielberg's new animated series, Animaniacs, debuting fall of '93.
I remember being jealous because half the crew was working on Animaniacs, and I was going back to a construction site the following morning. All right, we have, let's see, we got liked tweets, Max Zapata.
Yep.
And we'll do that in the next segment. People tweet me stuff. Sometimes it's about crows. Sometimes about Gavin Newsom. And I just like it because it means I want to possibly talk about it on the show. First, I'll tell you about Stamps.com. Holidays have a way of sneaking up on us, especially if you're a small business. Get prepared. Get Stamps.com, the 24/7 post office you can access anywhere. I've used Stamps.com for over 12 years. We ship merch. We ship books. We ship paperwork. Plus, exclusive discounts like up to 86% off UPS rates. Rates are consistently and constantly changing. With Stamps.com, Switch and Save feature, you can compare carriers and rates to get the best deal everywhere. Sign up with the promo code Adam for a special offer, including a 4-week trial, free postage, and digital scale, no long-term commitments or contracts. Stamps.com. You click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and you enter Adam. These are good guys. We've been using them for well over a decade. It's Stamps.com. All right, quick break. We'll be back with like tweets right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Adam. Dan in Colorado. Get it on. The story about the Beaver Cleaver episode reminded me when I was a kid, I wore a T-shirt to school that said, I slept on a virgin island, but the word island was in tiny print. And I got it from my sister's boyfriend. I got in trouble. I had to go home and change. Thanks.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Let me tell you an observation I had when I was fighting the clock, trying to get here from well beyond where I was.
Hanging with the Mannings.
Hanging with the Manning bros as we were going 54 and a 65 on the freeway, and trucks were blowing past us. I hate it. I don't mind getting passed by a sedan or sports car. I hate it when like a municipal bus blow when you're being driven by like Uber and you're
offensive.
in that middle lane in the freeway and just some soccer mom with 7 kids in her van just goes blowing past you. I'm like, can we pick this up?
Were you in an Uber or a Lyft or something like that?
No, I was in a town. I was in a professional car.
That's my beef with Uber and Lyft is just go the speed of traffic. Go the flow of traffic.
If people are passing you right and left at great speeds, then you just go their speed.
Right.
By the way, what we're doing is dangerous because you have people passing us at going 22 miles an hour faster than we are. But here's the thought. Here's the thought. You know, this guy was, many of the town car guys, they're 50, they're 48, they're 62. You should not have a job where your client could do your job better than you. Like, that's a big fail. Yeah. Like, if I was driving this Cadillac sedan, we would get to the shop 4 minutes faster than with you at the wheel. Fair. And I thought, there's not too many of those jobs, but that is a bad...
Yeah.
That is a bad sign. You could say, could probably say that about the person flipping burgers at the McDonald's. Most of the guys I know who are competent could do, Sean at the other shop who does the fabricating, give him 1 day's training and he'd be working that grill fine. A fuck of a lot better than whoever's working it or behind the counter at the register or driving the car, whatever. You can't say that for dentists,
doctors,
or
lawyers,
electricians.
Neurologists.
You can't say that for the rooter guy.
Right.
But if you're in a job where the person you're performing the job for could like literally tap you on the shoulder and go, let's just
slide over,
switch places. You give me the scalpel. You lay down. Yeah. I'll take out your
take
appendix.
A load off.
That's a bad.
Yeah.
That is a bad sign. And I think the town car driver is about number one.
Now, in terms of being on wheels, I couldn't do what the big rig guys do. Give me a week, it's still
true.
The Dutestons, I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the regular car, I'd like them to slide over.
Yes. All right. Do we have our liked tweets?
Sure do.
All right. So somebody tweeted you a new after-school special. Well, not new, but it's new to us. Dr. Bricker from The Love Boat was in an after-school special, an ABC after-school special called "The Day My Kid Went Punk."
Yeah, I was delighted at this thing. It's the kid. He's got the sleeves cut off his shirt and his hair spiked up. He doesn't have a mohawk or anything going through his nose, but he went punk. This must have been of the time. Must have been like 81 or
87.
87,
wow.
that late. Well, they missed the movement, man.
Seriously.
We were already on the glam rock by then.
This script was sitting around for a while.
Oh, yeah. What do you do when your bright, lovable, talented kid turns into a punker overnight? Well, the Nelsons are about to find out.
Wow.
Wow, this is aimed at a certain demo.
Yeah, a punker.
Is there a trailer for this?
We can't find the trailer. The whole movie is on YouTube, though. if
Let's
anybody
watch
wants-
it.
All right, just pick any point.
Watch it with commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can watch the scene if you want.
Lessons
Yes.
learned.
I'll read you the log line here. So, teenage musician Terry hopes to distinguish himself from, quote, the crowd by becoming a punk rocker.
Oh.
You could just say distinguish yourself. You know what I mean? The crowd's implied.
It's implied.
So it's not like he's angry or he's crying out for attention. He's just having a
he
little
just
fun.
wants an edge.
Yeah.
He wanted to,
It's game theory.
he wanted to distinguish himself on the football field from the other guys on the team.
It's very redundant.
Yes. All right, we have Adam Bricker.
Yes, this is the first time the dad sees his new
Oh,
punk
okay.
son.
All right. This is back when you could judge. Most all of these specials and sitcoms are all based on judging.
That's the whole point.
It was like, Beaver, where are you going in that shirt with the demon drawn on it? What? Like everything was based on judging. I've never really thought about most sitcom premises are null and void now because there's no more judging.
It's that shaming.
All the tropes would be like meeting the new boyfriend for the first time and he had long hair.
That's right. Could do that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. You guys, Brian, there's a chance you'll remember this. I knew that punker looked familiar. Do you remember a little movie called The Boy Who Could Fly?
Yeah.
Maybe a movie called Not Quite Human?
These are
That's
not good
the kid.
Really?
Yeah,
Hard
I
as
knew
hell
he
with
looked
the makeup.
familiar.
Wow, good call. These are bad movies.
These are horrible movies.
And the guy who played the punk is Jay Underwood, who is now a pastor.
Oh, I love that. Good for him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we got, Max?
All right. So an old Gavin Newsom clip, even older than the interview you did with him. He did a State of the City back in 2008.
As mayor of San Francisco.
That's right, and he had a 10-year plan for homelessness. So we could watch a clip of that.
So if that's 2018, 4 years ago, homelessness should have been eradicated.
He had a plan, everybody.
Oh, problem solved.
Yeah.
We did it.
Well, Newsom was on it. Now,
Now we have the Snap Crap app for when homeless people shit in the street in San Francisco.
I said it. It's the problem is the labeling. Yes, people that have issues, the hungry, the malnourished, or whatever. Yes, food will fix that, just like water will fix hydration. Right. But then we go the homeless. But if we just properly labeled it of insane junkies, then we wouldn't think that the homes would fix the homeless because it's homeless. I mean, it's like, well, what's the problem with the shoeless? They have no shoes. How do we fix them? Take them to the fucking kids.
Right.
Get them some fucking
DSW,
Crocs. Like,
yeah.
Okay, now the shoeless have shoes.
Yeah, we've shooed them.
We've shooed the shoeless. But what if they're crazed junkies and never wanted to wear shoes, or they got the shoe and they beat you with the shoe? This fucking retard in 2008 was talking this way. 5 years later, he came into the studio with the same thing, the same bullshit. In 5 years, he didn't figure anything out. I don't know where he is now. He's starting to turn the corner a little. They do this things like homes are too expensive. Okay, let's just, I'll riddle you this. All right, so homes in Los Angeles are too expensive, and thus we have a lot of homeless. Okay. First off, most of the homeless here aren't from Los Angeles. They came here because the fucking getting's good. They came here from Muncie, Indiana, where you could buy a home for $84,000 versus $1.3 million. So they left a place, many places around the country where homes were pretty affordable to come here and flop out on the street. So is it about the price of a home? But all right, they came here and housing is too expensive. Okay, so let's do a little experiment. You say to the guy sleeping on the sidewalk, and as I drove from where I live to past downtown today, I saw many, many cardboard shelters and visqueen and bike pieces, by the side of the freeway where people were living. If I went into the guy's cardboard tent that was off the 110 on the pile of dirt next to the polluted, shitty freeway, it's 102 degrees, and a person is expiring in their refrigerator box. If I just knocked on I don't know if they have a doorbell or proper knocker, but I did the knock, the friendly knock. That's the hand going backward. The backward knock. I did the knock, tap, tap, tap. And he said, hey, are you homeless? Yes, evidently. I live on a dirt embankment by the side of a fucking freeway. Okay, so listen, I listen to Gavin Newsom. The average house out here is between $900 and $1.3 million for a starter house in the valley. That's way too much. What if that house was $85,000? Do you think you could march into the B of A, fill out the paperwork, qualify for a loan, and
put 20% down?
20% down. The person that's strung out on fucking fentanyl in a fucking refrigerator box on a dirt hill by the side of the freeway? Or you're a crazy person. Like, could I have, in the olden days, where the crazy miner who lived with his mule up in the hills and slept in the woods, do you think I could have gotten the old crazy miner who liked to drink moonshine every night and said, well, head down to the city and let's get some paperwork? Well, of course, we need 2 forms of ID. Like,
probably committed to the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So their thing is it's the price of the house. The price?
Just that.
Just that.
Yeah.
So, all right, the price will now... Let's go from $1.3 to $130,000.
My problem would be solved.
Your problem would be
That'd
solved.
be it.
What percentage of the people flopping and expiring on the street would then be proud homeowners if we lowered the price?
Very small. If
I don't even know if any. Yeah. All right. You're going the wrong direction. You're not thinking straight. Yes, someone said homeless, but you're thinking of it as foodless and shoeless. It is not that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I made the commitment.
When I think of when you said that, like the shoeless need shoes, well, who are the homeless that if we just put them into homes? My first thought is like refugees from another country being like, they had a fine life. Now they're being chased by their government. That's the homeless.
Yes.
But this is, there are reasons why hotel owners and managers don't want to go with the bill that says by 2:00 every day you have to proclaim how many empty rooms you have, because those will go to the homeless, because they are all saying that is a safety concern for our paying customers.
Yeah, we're floating that bill. I don't know if it's passed. Yes, he said food solves hunger, shelter solves sleep, and housing solves homeless. If this guy runs for president, if I ran against him, I would just show this on a loop and go, all right, let me show you. Now, this was his 10-year plan. Let me show you the stats of San Francisco and homelessness under the steady guiding hand of Gavin Newsom. Jesus Christ. All right. But that's his number one concern as spoken on this show. What else you got, Max Zapata?
Well, we have another crow video.
No boy.
But this is a crow. We've seen the crow trying to get the cats to fight. A lot more malicious intent. This is a really nice crow video where he's helping, or she is helping a hedgehog cross the street.
It's adorable.
There's the middle of the street. There's a hedgehog in the very middle of it.
He's escorting. Yeah. And he's nudging. That's good.
And then the hedgehog would stop and sort of turtle every once in a while.
This
and then
is not where we stop.
He's poking him and pushing him.
That crow is adamant.
What is it? A hedgehog has a support crow.
Now, some people tweeted me, it's going to eat the hedgehog. Or
I don't.
Even better.
It seems to walk. The end of the video, which cuts off, is once the hedgehog has made it to the curb, and now the hedgehog's on its own because he can't fly the hedgehog over the curb. The crow appears to walk away.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mission accomplished.
So what I'm saying is I think when I say this about crows, I don't think that they're terrorist killers, and that's why they would make great attack crows and police crows.
They can discern, exactly.
I'm saying crows seem to have the same ability that we have in terms of there's a certain percentage of our society that's on the SWAT team, and they're Navy SEALs and they're policemen and women, and they can be taught to do this. Other people, me personally, not my DNA. I wouldn't make a good cop, and many people I know would make lousy cops. What I'm saying is crows just have a spectrum of abilities and emotions, and he's showing some compassion here, it looks like, for the hedgehog. And then later on, the same crow could attack the school shooter.
Yeah.
And by the way, kind of using the same part of the brain, which is compassion.
Yeah.
Trying to protect the kids in the school. It's got to.
That was nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, so I just put a note on Adam's screen that Kimmel was on Stern today because he's out there in Brooklyn doing his show, and he told the Tom Cruise football story. It's 2 minutes long, but it's kind of cool to hear his point of view.
Yeah.
From it.
Tom Cruise is a big Giants fan, but I don't know, I was talking to him about the Giants or whatever, and I said, hey, we have football on Sunday if you ever want to come over. Not thinking he would ever come over because this is a bunch of if you could see this group, John Hamm is not indicative. These are mostly my cousin Sal's friends from upstate New York. These are not glamorous people by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. It's not a showbiz crowd.
Not a showbiz crowd. This is the kind of crowd that one of the guys will go into my mini bar and drink all the little pineapple juices one after the other and just leave the cans all over the place. That kind of a group. Yeah. So Tom Cruise comes over and he brings his mom over also.
This has got to be a lot of pressure for you because it isn't a showbiz crowd. And then you're thinking to yourself, oh, fuck, Tom Cruise is here. Now he's not going to have a good time because he's going to be uncomfortable around these guys.
So he comes over, and first of all, my dad gets hold of him in the backyard and starts telling him about real estate in the area. And this, this is not particularly great neighborhood I live in. He's like, and this house sold for 1.4 and it was on the market. He's going through all this stuff that I know Tom Cruise doesn't care about at all, but Tom is pretending that he does care about. I finally go, Dad, Tom might want to watch the games. He's here to watch football. So Tom comes in. Carolla lives down the block at this time, and Adam comes over and he gets lit. He just gets hammered because he knows he can walk home.
Right.
So Adam gets drunk and somebody encourages him to do his touchdown celebration dance, his end zone celebration dance, which is him. What he does, he pretends to score a touchdown. He then squats down. Pretends to shit the football out of his ass. Drops it like he's on the toilet and shitting, and then he thumbs through the newspaper. He mimes thumbing through the newspaper. It's hard. Just imagine this. And imagine Tom Cruise's mother watching. Just watching.
That's good.
That's funny.
So apparently it did happen.
Yeah, I was lit, I'm not going to lie, but hey, I was walking.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Did you do this was this like devil may care, or were you performing for Tom, or what was happening?
I was minding my own business.
He had workshopped this over many months.
Did you have second thoughts because Tom Cruise and Mrs. Cruise were there?
I got dragged into it the same way I got dragged into driving my car off of a tow truck, which is... I wasn't planning on it, but somebody encouraged me to do it, and I was all in the moment. And I was in the sunken living room of Jimmy's old house, and Tom and his mom and some of the other rabble-rousers when they were watching the game. And Tony, I think it was Tony Barbieri, but one of the Man Show writers, he said to me, Mole from Windy City Heat, he grabbed the football and he said, do the dance, do the dance for Tom, like during the commercial, because everyone's facing the big screen. And I was like, oh, okay. And as I recall, I threw the ball to Tom and went, Tom, just hit me with a pass. And well, all right. And he threw a pass and I caught it. And then I do the move. I think the move is I sit down and I start reading the sports page.
Where's this going?
And then the ball falls out, and then I get back to the sports page. But yeah, that was...
Do you recall the reaction from Tom and his mother? Besides being horrified?
I recall he brought cupcakes with his mom. I recall he had a driver, but did not drink, which was, I was like, hey, man, I'm lit because I'm walking home. You got a driver. Dawson, could you imagine... Can you imagine a world where there was a kegerator, a free-flowing kegerator on a Sunday, and you had a town car waiting for you outside?
Oh boy,
it would be a wasted day. If you're not drinking, what are you doing?
You're watching football with your mom.
Yeah, you have to
with
drink.
cupcakes.
Yeah, with cupcakes. I remember that. I remember talking to Tom quite a bit, and this is a long time ago, about his P-51 Mustang he had, which he's now highlighted in the Top Gun movie.
I'm trying to remember. This was during the radio show, so 07, 08, somewhere in that nature. Had your obsession with Paul Newman taken flight? Would you talk to him at all about that?
I don't remember a lot of Newman talk with him. I just remember a lot of P-51 talk because it's my favorite airplane.
How lost in his eyes did you get? I mean, even though I have like thoughts about like, if he was in front of me, I wouldn't be able to speak.
I was staring at all four of them.
Trying to get a beat
If I
on
shut
him.
one eye, I could get him back to two. But as soon as I opened the other one,
boy.
All right, let's see. Let me hit concrete. Oh, man. This stuff is good. It's creatine. It's got a nice lemony flavor to it. Dr. Drew swears by it. And it gives you energy. And you can feel it immediately because your body makes half the creatine it needs. And the other half comes from your diet. But most American diets are low in creatine-rich foods. Concrete, patented creatine. HCl is the favorite creatine of elite, well-informed athletes. It's the #1 bioavailable creatine and the only microdosing creatine, just one small scoop per 100 pounds of your body weight. So put 2 scoops in if you're 200 and shake it up. Creatine is required for functional energy in every cell, and your brain uses about 20% of the creatine in your body. So let's get it right with concrete. Right, Dawson?
Take control of your health, both body and mind. Build a better you with Concrete. Register now at con-crete.com/podcast. That's con-cret.com/podcast for a chance to win a $500 Walmart Visa gift card available now online and in-store at Walmart. Concrete is truly life-changing and performance-enhancing.
Ryan Long, comedian, is coming back on the show, and we'll talk to him right after this.
It's like to be a woman and walk alone at night and feel unsafe. And I'm like, dude, every guy's felt unsafe. But you're right, you would never know that because we would never fucking tell you that. No guy is walking home through a dark alley calling his girl like, babe, I'm spooked. Can you Uber me a nightlight? Dude, you could be getting beat up. You're like, actually, things are going better than ever. Those thugs are unsafe because I'm a weapon, so...
Ryan Long is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Good to see you again, my friend.
Loving the music under the clip.
Yeah, it adds.
Oh, yeah.
Fellas Tour is the name, and he's playing at Hilarities in Cleveland, Ohio. That's coming up October 2nd, and Zany's Comedy Club, October 3rd and 4th in Chicago. And you can go to ryanlongcomedy.com for more dates. Where are we at with the comedy stand-up right now? I feel like the pendulum is kind of swinging back, people pushing back a little more. It was maybe in its full flight of political correctness, and maybe COVID kind of fucked things up for a while, but I feel like there's a lot of comedians kind of speaking up and pushing back. And
it feels to me almost that it wasn't even like a pendulum as much as there's like a new industry that formed that they don't own. It's kind of the decentralization that changed the whole thing.
You know what? That's very astute, because the pendulum is always like, well, it's the same pendulum that's now swinging. It's a new pendulum that doesn't give a fuck about the old pendulum.
And they don't have any control over that pendulum.
Right. No, that is apt.
They go, hey, well, if you don't listen to us, we'll stop giving you money. And you go, yeah, that was 5 years ago. You did that.
Right. You're not going to get on HBO, or you're not going to get on Netflix or whatever.
And if you do, it'll be, after you got so big that they're like, please come back in.
Yeah, it is the only remedy to a problem like that, because the problem, if you think about a problem, you go, okay, we got a ravine, we got a water, we're tired of the ferry going back and forth, like we need to build a bridge. And you go, all right, that makes sense. It's going to take a long time. Maybe it's going to cost a lot of money, but I get it. There's a problem. There's a fix. These people were just trying to get everyone canceled and firing everyone and doing all their shit. There wasn't a problem. So the problem with somebody who's trying to fix a problem that's not really a problem just means they want to fucking beat on your ass, and there's no real fix for that. So if your stepdad says, the reason I'm beating on you is because you came home 2 hours after curfew, then you can fix that problem by not coming home after curfew. But if he's just randomly beating on you, you have to move out.
That analogy you said is exactly where my brain was going. It's like it's exactly like, I mean, the same way I felt about Canada. You know, there's a million people in Canada right now complaining that like, oh, the industry, and it was like, yeah, I mean, leave. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you go, my friggin' mom, she's ruining my life, and this and that, and you go, you have to leave, or you could complain about it forever, and then eventually, that's if you leave and then become successful, and then your mom's calling you, being like, okay, I kind of need a place to stay now.
Yeah, it is. There's been a lot of examples, but very recently. But I think it shall be the new world order, because I don't think you can take creatives and sort of corral them for extended periods of time.
Well, you'll be left with the creatives that aren't that creative.
Well, this is I had an interesting discussion with Gutfeld that we played several weeks ago, but I hadn't really gotten into it too much here, but he was kind of inspired by it, which is most people are not excellent at what they do. So, you know, Dave Chappelle's excellent.
Right.
He's excellent, and Sean, my fabricator at the other shop, is excellent at what he does. You don't get to push around excellent people.
Right. You don't want to lose them.
Dave Chappelle goes, fuck you, I'll go across the street, or I'll just start doing stand-up in my backyard.
Sure.
Like, you can't really take really good, but it's not limited to the creative endeavor. You can't tell electricians and plumbers who are fucking good, or like carpenters. I worked with carpenters when I was a carpenter. The good ones knew who they were. They fucking did what they wanted to do, and you couldn't ride them.
Yeah, or at the very least, you can ride them and they'll listen to you, but like roll their eyes.
Yeah.
You know, anyone that really understands the craft or the art form, they know when the person's telling them, you go, they're like, you have to do this, but you go, you're wrong, but like, you know what I mean?
And there's a number of people who just broke off. They just went, I'm not going to comply to this shit. I'm going to go do my own thing. But they were good, and they knew they were good. And the reality is the lion's share of the people live in the middle. Yeah. Like if you've ever been in any writer's room, for a sitcom or a late night show, there are 13, 14 dudes. Couple of chicks. Two of them we
nowadays
need.
I don't think that's what those writers' rooms looks like.
Two of them we know we need.
Yeah.
The other 11, you start throwing around.
They gotta look busy.
Stop doing what we tell you to do, and you're fucking gone. Like, we know who we need.
Yeah.
The guys who are good, like when I worked in Jimmy's writer's room, there's a friend of mine named John. She's a really good writer. At some point, 12 years ago, he's like, I want to move back to New York. And then it was like, how are you going to be in the writer's room? I'll do it from New York. Oh, you can't, this is 15 years ago.
Right.
You can't be out of the writer's room.
Can't I?
Can't I? He went back to New York, and then he writes from New York. Why? Because he's good. If the fair to middling guy goes, all right, have fun.
Yeah.
Maybe you can catch on. Maybe write for Letterman over there or something. Like, he literally could do it. He's good. Good. Yeah. When you're good, you get to do your own shit, but everyone else is in the middle, and the middle needs to comply.
And then a part of that too is there's a certain type of person that always wants to be kind of in a room where they're trying to go up. Like, even stand up, I'll do a lot of the clubs where, it's kind of like not the high profile clubs, because I know that I could cancel a spot with no ramifications. I know that if, you know what I mean? I know that I can like fit them into my life instead of fitting into their life. And if you're always just trying to fit into the industry, fit into this friend group, you never get anything done because you're constantly like molding around everything around you.
Yeah, it's a good, in a weird way, it may be a lot like, God, I'll screw up the nomenclature, but like when it comes to industry, we now have these CNC machines that can replicate, parts of metal and fabricate and whatever. What are these things called? What are these? Not the CNC machines, but the
3D
new
printers?
3D printers. Oh. Yeah, 3D printers and CNC machine shit. But the point is this. Back in the day, only Ford and GM could do that shit. Like, you need to be a big outfit. Pretty soon, we're all going to have 3D printers, and we'll get to design our own shit.
And you'll have less regulation on yourself.
And you can do what it's to the people, or maybe it's the pop-up food stuff or the food trucks or something. Food trucks were shitty sandwiches on a construction site. They can kind of do your own thing. And I feel like comedically, you used to have to be in the system. You're going to work for a network. Where's the system? You have to get into there. Now everyone can just break off and kind of do their own 3D
at
printing.
Such a disadvantage. I remember even when I was doing that stuff at CBC, like, imagine doing internet content where you go, I got to get scripts approved, then you got to get edits approved, and you're like, by the time you would actually release the video,
it's not relevant.
Not only is the actual content's not relevant, like sometimes the pacing has been not relevant. Like the internet will move so quickly and things go through such trends that, you were kind of on a moment. Then by the time you do it, you go, that actually took too long now. I would like recut things based on the 3 months the pacing of the internet's changed.
That's so funny because we've talked about that when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. If you didn't get your shit in the next hour, you are so fucking far behind.
I uploaded mine a half hour later.
Thank you.
I'm still working on my tweet. I do get with the spirit of what you're saying.
Right, but it's not your pace.
Yeah, also, when you're doing things in this big collaborative, networky environment, you're held hostage to the dumbest person with the worst sense of humor that's in the group. So it's funny, Kevin Henshaw, I wrote a lot of my stuff with, emailed me the other day because I don't know, there was like a huge traffic jam at Burning Man or something.
Oh,
and like
boy,
one of the lines
lasted days
from my sitcom pilot was talking to my sort of ne'er-do-well stepson. He's like, I'm going to do my own thing. I said, oh, you're going to take your Pegasus to Burning Man this year or something. And of course, one of the dudes was like, I don't know what Burning Man is. And we're like, believe me, the audience knows. Nancy Tellum has never heard of Burning Man either. It's like, can we change that to like a Farrell's or something? It's like, just
I promise you they know this.
Just they know what Burning Man is. Well, I've never heard. Yeah, Lloyd, you're 61 years old and you live in Santa Barbara and you've been rich your entire life. Yeah. Like, you don't know what it is.
I think we should change this to an All in the Family reference.
They go, just change the Burning. Sure. Nancy
maybe
hadn't
a Britney
heard of it
Spears
either.
Concert, something we've all heard
throw
of.
her bone.
Taylor Swift.
Just throw her bone. And so I got to take the dumb broad of the bad sense of humor and make this shit a little bit less funny because she doesn't know what's going on. It's like, just do it. So that's the process.
Is there anything better than a comedy going to like a corporate, boardroom sort of environment discussion about like every joke when you go like that, you can break it down to make it not funny?
How would a painting work in that environment? Like, how would one create a painting by going, let's see what Nancy Tellum thinks of it? She doesn't like that bowl of fruit.
I don't get pointillism.
Like, it would be insane if you thought of, I'm going to write a poetry. Let's pass it through the gates here. Let's see if the suits
it. There's certain components of making stuff that a collaborative environment helps. You know what I mean? Like, for example, the writer's room at the beginning, before it takes shape. Once it takes shape, you need someone to be like, this is my vision and I'm kind of calling the shots here. But the original thing, we can all balance out equally. But like, someone's got to eventually, a collaborative environment still needs to become, someone's in charge of this thing.
Right.
And they're accountable too. Because there's nothing worse than people that are allowed to tell you what's wrong, but they're actually not really accountable for the success or failure.
No, I know. That would... We'd always laugh because if Bill Simmons would pull that at the writer's table, like someone would be pitching a joke and he'd go, no, not that one. That's no good. And then everyone would look at him and he'd go, I don't have anything.
Yeah, what do you got?
I'm just saying that's no good. Which I guess is half the battle.
That's the backseat driver girlfriend.
But I curse Bill because he made this announcement. The big deal about the writer's room at Kimmel is really, what are we doing for lunch?
Yeah.
Because when you're in a writer's room, it all becomes about lunch. I don't know what happens. You show up at 10:15, you're like, I'm fucking starving. I'm starving. And it's like, when's lunch? 12:30. I don't know if I can sit in air conditioning that long without
with just
expiring.
The little canisters of nuts and chips.
The kitchen.
It's everything. All you're doing is fucking eating granola bars going, oh my God, I'm expiring. And then at some point, you start thinking about lunch. We doing Italian or we do? And it gets exciting. It gets exciting, right? You start getting exciting, and then you have to lobby Because like if you're in the mood for Italian, but I went Chinese, like we did Italian too last week. You know, and at some point, Bill Simmons and my favorite was the Chinese. I love the big buckets of all the different, sweet and sour and everything.
Noodles here,
at some point,
there.
Bill went, Chinese food makes everyone tired. It's no good for the writer's room. And then Jimmy's like, oh, noted. We never got any more Chinese food. And I was like, everything makes you tired.
Nice move, though.
Dubious science.
You eat to excess, which is what we're all about to do, and then you want to fucking take a nap. Yeah.
He's a genius.
Yeah,
probably not a good groundling, but a genius.
He got it pulled right off the fucking menu.
I prefer at least that you're getting the lunch. Like the places where it's just you're on set and it's food all day, every day. You're on set for 5 days and you're like, yo, I can be like, you know what? I'm not going to order something. I have a lot more trouble being like, I'm not going to eat another one that's sitting right there.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, it's even worse. At some point, the chick brings the mountain to Muhammad. Like you're standing on the set talking to the director, and at some point the chick comes up with smoothies and quesadillas, and she's like on a tray. Like, I know you guys can't get to crafty, but is anyone? And you're like, yeah. Like I was going to avoid that part of the building, but you've presented me a quesadilla.
They're trying to make you fat because they have breakfast and lunch, and then remember they have in between breakfast and lunch they go subs, which is substantials.
Fucking hobbits.
Film sets invented a meal between breakfast and lunch.
I know they've created Wednesday brunch. There's like brunch every day of the week.
Yeah.
I was literally on a set this morning, and I just looked at the offerings. They have the snack table. It is the granola bars, which are like eating a candy bar, just carb-loaded,
you
corn
can feel better
syrup
about
and whatever. You feel better about it. Bags of Doritos, bags of cookies, one big pile of carbs. And I've always said, if you really want to drum yourself out of this business, you can either get fat or drunk. Those are the two things that'll get you pushed out.
Radio guys really must struggle with that.
Everything is nothing but food, empty carbs, and then at the end of the show, they always get you a bottle of scotch. Like they're sending a weird message. Every present is booze, and every offering is carbs.
In the herd.
Yeah, no kidding.
I feel like there's a lot of radio guys that, you're kind of tired and they start having a couple of drinks and they go, oh, actually, I'm pretty good at radio when I'm drinking. Then you go, now you go, I drink every morning for 4 hours.
Radio guys, you have now removed the aesthetic.
That's true.
So what if you said to Alec Baldwin, you'll never be seen on camera again. We have a microphone. We'd like you to share. He's just being a moo-moo at home, just eating and yelling. He'd be 700 pounds, right? I mean,
easily.
What actors wouldn't immediately... It's the only thing that keeps you grounded is the fact that you're going to walk in front of a camera after eating the quesadillas.
Even then, you play slip.
Even then.
There's been a couple of girl actors recently that, I think it was the Jurassic Park one, where they wanted her to lose some weight for the role, and then she kind of made it an activism thing, like, this is what they do to women, and it was just like, honestly, you have to admit, well played, that she was just like, nah, I'm going to stay fat and still get paid a ton.
Yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yes.
That's so fun. Like, I love the idea of a dude, they're like, yo, you have to lose 30 pounds, and he was like, this is...
Do I?
Yeah, this is, the most misogynistic stuff, and then he's just on set eating Cheetos, like, got him.
But then we get, like, a slightly better looking than normal woman still. Like, she's still gorgeous. She just looks a little more normal.
Here's my umbrage with that. That's a recent dust up where she's explaining, women come in different shapes and stuff like that. All right. But Chris Pratt, her co-host, or co-star, famously goes on all his diets and have to live in the weight room and all that kind of stuff because he's a guy who likes his carbs as well, and he's getting into running from dinosaur shape. Yeah. And so he does it, right? So it's a tougher pitch when your co-star dude is doing what they asked to do. And by the way, we would not accept it on his end either. As a movie-going audience, we don't want to see dad bod with love handles riding a motorcycle from a Lopsa Raptor or whatever.
DiCaprio always gets rid of his Yacht 50 every movie.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So my feeling is that is within the bounds of a request from the writer, the creator of the series?
In college, when I was doing all my kabuki and kyogen and no Japanese theater, because I thought that's where the future is, there was a really big kind of portly student, fellow student, and every time our very diminutive little Japanese instructor would try to wrap him with the robes, he would say, "Can't wrap you, too much goo."
I also, if I was going to work on a $125 million action film, and like the creator, the studio, or the director like came up to me and went, we're going in 7 weeks. Could you take it easy on the Lunchables? I'd go, oh shit! Like I'd be like,
it's go time.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm in.
It's the in between that's tough, by the way, because for a dude especially, it's like, listen, either go easy on the Lunchables or you need to double the Lunchables.
Right.
You go big or go home really is the look for a dude.
So 2 things about this. Number one, get ready for a lot more of this in a very short amount of time, or a lot more of this discussion around this issue, because there's a movie coming out. You guys may have heard of it called
The Clumps 3.
The Whale.
Yes, Brendan Fraser.
It's going to be up for Oscars,
yes.
certainly for Best Picture. Brendan Fraser stars as a man who sort of let himself go.
Got like a 10-minute standing ovation.
Darren Aronofsky directed. It's going to be like a thing. So there's going to be a lot of discussion about that. Number 2, I went to see Don't Worry, Darling, the movie starring Olivia Wilde, directed it, and Florence Pugh is the star, and she's a beautiful woman, and I'm watching, and she's wearing a lot of form-fitting sort of 50s, 60s style outfits, and I'm like, oh, like a normal woman. She's like got a tiny little belly, and I'm like, by societal standards, she is thin, but she's between Harry fucking Styles and Olivia Wilde, 2 goddamn toothpicks,
right?
And she looks like, if you looked at between those two,
she sticks out.
There she could, lose 5, but she's skinny by any objective standard.
But like at one point she was a hot young skinny chick, and then new hot young skinny chicks came in, and she was like, nah, it's gonna still be me.
Do we have? You used to play. You played in a punk band, right?
Yeah. We were actually called the Brendan Frasers, but
oh shit!
Shut up!
Do you know that?
God, that would be
these two, huh? He knows.
I started. I took half a step down your road and then went, no.
He's still fat. The thing is, they go, they're mad. Some people are saying, like, why don't they get a fat actor instead of putting him in a fat suit? It's like, pretty thin fat suit, though. Brendan Fraser's pretty big. Like, that was one tiny layer of fat.
Did he pack on weight?
Oh, yeah.
Brendan Fraser?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you see him at the Cannes or wherever the film festival is, and he stands up,
that's a big
2-seater.
He's very large.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I only remember him as Tarzan.
Right.
This is like
Encino Man.
Kind of what he looks like. He probably said that we were saying, they go, listen, Brendan Fraser, we want you to play this fat movie. And he's like, oh, I guess I'll have to wear a fat suit. And they're like, I mean, yeah,
if
sure.
you want.
The story goes, the director tried for years to get this made, and they couldn't find the right actor. They had to find like a star, right? But like what star would fit the role? And then he caught a glimpse of Brendan Fraser. He's like, oh, there you go.
This is him looking good too.
That's
him
what,
at Con.
That's what we do with
Snatched.
our pictures.
No, you want the TMZ beach photos. That's
do we have, anyway, as a former punk rocker.
Yeah.
Last week we chronicled Chongo from Danger Island, but you don't expect you to know it.
No.
You're far too young for that. But
was he getting chubby, shirt off still?
No,
absolutely not. You hold your
unrelated. But they wrote a punk song from a 70s Saturday morning cartoon interstitial. So somebody wrote a punk song about Chongo.
Character. From a stupid shit.
Badass.
Tell me, I don't know. You tell us. You're the punker. Any talent there, Ryan?
Well, that music's not supposed to be good, right?
Right.
So it is kind of weird where you're like, yeah, you nailed it sounds like 16-year-olds that aren't that great at music. So yeah, I think that sounds like a 60s kind of punk hardcore song, right?
Did you guys cover any punk songs? Did you do
Chongo?
No, but I think we cover a lot of like, in those days, that was a huge thing. Like every set, we'd play like, we did a punk, I Would Walk 500 Miles.
Sure.
We did a punk.
The Proclaimers?
Yeah,
like songs like that. What was the big one that we used to do? Rock Lobster, stuff like that. Like,
which is
you
almost
cover
there.
funny songs. Yeah,
ironic.
Make 'em punk. That was a big genre. People were releasing these albums of like punk covers and stuff. Yeah.
Were you guys successful?
In Canada, we were pretty big, yeah. We were a little bit big here, but in Canada, we were like on the MTV countdowns and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, really? What was the name of the band?
The Johnstones. when I was like 20. Yeah, we actually, so I used to make when I was in that band, we got pretty popular, and then I started making all these DVDs, kind of like, Tom Green Jackass style, that we were like selling at shows, and then I started doing a cable access show when I was in the band, and then I did like an actual TV show, kind of doing, messing with people on the street and doing all this stuff, and then I started doing stand-up when I was doing all that stuff.
Yeah, was that something that was sort of always in you, like in junior high and high school? Because, see, how old are you?
37.
So you had access to shit. So when I was a young creative type, like junior high, high school, I had a fucking Viewmaster and, a pull and play or something. Like you point.
Maybe a Mr. Microphone.
Yeah, that was way out of my family's bracket.
But you had that's why prank calls were so big there, because you didn't.
So
need
we
much
had
to be
prank
a
calls. That's all we
guy.
had. We didn't have a way to record them. We just had prank calls. So if there had been cameras with phones and videos and I could
I didn't have any of that stuff
edit
when I
on a
grew up.
computer, but what did you have?
No, when I started, I was a little playing in music, skateboard kid or whatever. We would go film all film all this, causing trouble, getting kicked out of the mall, whatever, blah blah blah, these little stunts, and then. When I was in high school, the only thing we'd really do was show it to people at a party. Like you could hook the camcorder up to the
aux on the TV,
and then play it for people and then rewind, like kind of edit. Like I was only probably in around grade 12 before like a software came out that you could actually kind of edit stuff. So when I was in high school, you couldn't really do any of that stuff. We would just film it all, and then that was kind of the end of the line.
Is editor... Now, I'm not talking about works with Tarantino. I'm talking about there's a million TV shows on a million stations, and they're doing all these, video roundup shows or sports shows or just whatever. Could be comedies, whatever. Editor used to mean you had to have an Avid. You had to have access to an Avid machine, and an Avid was like $100,000. And I remember like people saying to me, you should buy an Avid and like rent the Avid out or whatever. And then, of course, the editor knew how to work the Avid machine. And so that person made good money as an editor. Like when we do the Man Show, I'd walk across the alley and go sit in the edit bay. And there was these guys that were editors.
Yeah.
And they were never funny and they never had a sense of humor. But I would sit in the bay and they'd be working this giant Avid machine. And I thought, every 25-year-old can edit, and they can all do it on their laptop now, right?
And you do it on your phone.
It's all Final
so
Cut Pro.
iMovie's on your phone.
These guys would make $80 an hour as an editor. Can I just get a 23-year-old that
And
can
they can
fucking
lie
do
to
it
you
now?
when they don't want to do something. You go do this, they go, oh, that's not possible.
Right.
Yes.
You go, I guess, all right.
Yo, motherfuckers.
Yeah, the oldest trick in the book. Like, love to help you. That's just not how editing works. You wouldn't understand, but...
I did The Hammer, my movie, and it was a nighttime scene, but we went right inside of this Home Depot, and I was like, we need to get an outside establishment shot, like nighttime of the truck or the sign at night, so we're not inside. When we're inside, you think it's daytime because it's a home improvement place, and it wouldn't have tracked for how the movie went. And I was like saying to the editor, don't we have like an outside establishing shot? And they're like, nope. And I'm like, he cut it the way he cut it. It's like we start off inside, but it was supposed to be that night and we're in this brightly lit. And I said, I swear we shot some sort of establishment. No. I said, God,
was there.
It would really help us if we could find it. Well, we don't have it. And I was like, let's go back.
Yeah, I'll
let's
go do it
back.
right now.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there
and
it is.
I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
He told me, oh, there's an outside shot, but you can see the bed of the truck and it's got the wood in it. And that, where you steal the wood, that takes place in the next scene. There's a continuity thing or whatever. We found one. There was no wood.
Yeah.
The fucker was lying. Just to fucking get me to shut up.
No,
he just wanted me to
that's
go
the oldest
away.
trick in the book.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why.
There's our shot. See?
Yes.
Movie be no good without it. Sorry, guys.
I was just saying, so many of the best people making stuff right now understand that, because everyone has a different thing that they want out of it. Like, the editors, their thing is like, how can I just make this the easiest, get out of here?
Right.
But even cinematographers, you're doing comedy and they're always kind of like, they always want tight because it looks better and they want to be on the reel, and everyone has something that they want, and you need someone that like understands film, where you can be like, yes, I know this looks a little worse. I don't care because I still think it's funnier regardless. Like, you need to know the cost and benefit of everything, or else you just go, oh, okay. And then everyone makes your thing bad.
So if you're doing a TV show, you don't have to. I mean, like when I did the Man Show, it's like an editor. We got this editor. We want to get that editor. Like, it was real small pool. You had to kind of work
hardest
with
thing
them
to find
and
in
stuff.
the world.
And now I guess everyone kind of grows up with the skill.
But it's the reason.
Doesn't make you a great editor, but what I'm saying is you can physically
tools are
edit,
available,
right?
yes.
But the reason it's like, in my opinion, editing is like the hardest thing to find out of any job, because probably what makes a good editor is you kind of like understand people, you understand like rhythm, you're like funny, you kind of have a good pacing, you understand, like dynamics of conversation. And that type of person has so many lives available that are better other than being an editor. At the very least, why isn't that guy just the YouTuber? So every editor that I know that's the best editor is like a famous comedian, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
So it's...
Yeah, Ryan nailed it. The people who can like cut and have the ability to work the software has grown. The
usually
number
awesome.
of people who are funny or understand drama, you know what I mean? Like, people who can tell the
Yeah.
story is still the same. It's still like 2% of the population.
Well, and it's the same with audio editing. I've been told, like, get off my ass. Like, can you come back in a half hour? I'm like, no, because God bless you. You're better at that. I couldn't do it. But, like, I'm directing you. You know what I mean?
Project
like,
manager.
Exactly.
I found the same thing with like, sometimes I think that about like my friends who are girl comedians, where it's like, if you're like super funny, you're like hot, you're like good at business and networking, the amount of lives available for you that are better than being a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Like, it's for a dude, you go, oh, yeah, it might be a good one. But like, yeah, there's some of those jobs where if you're so good at this, why would you be doing it?
Well, half the dudes do comedy because they're lazy.
Sure.
And they just fucking hate getting up in the morning. Like,
that game doesn't work as good anymore.
They're
like,
unemployable.
everyone's like running a business, but you have these old like people that are just got into this to not have a real job, and then now you're like posting all these clips, organizing film, organizing employees. You're like, I don't know if this is actually easier than a normal job now. I kind of got scammed.
I think the new wave of editors, like you said, are going to be better at comedy because the old editor was a technician,
Yes.
solely
That's
a
my point.
technician.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like saying to a airline pilot, like, why aren't you funny? It's because I just stare at gauges all
Right.
day. I have military training. Like, they were trained on an Avid. Now they were doing their own funny videos the whole time.
These guys are cutting tape precisely to glue it together.
Remember, Jimmy wanted you to get into that racket.
I did everything Jimmy said to do except for learn how to edit audio tape. It was I remember it, a little aluminum ashtray with a slot in it, and, looked like a miter box, and you'd put the tape across it, and you'd cut it, and you'd tape it, pull out a piece and tape it. You'd use Scotch tape and tape it together. Like, Jimmy Kimmel was cutting and taping pieces
Analog.
of audio tape together in a bay.
We still have, in my mom's basement, we still have my dad's reel-to-reel with all that shit. Is a relic.
I couldn't even figure out how he would do it. You would take the tape and like turn it, and then it'd be like a pause, and you go, all right, I'll take that little
with a razor,
2 seconds,
and tape it together for a bit. We played one time at 6:45 in the morning on Kevin and Bean.
I think in 20 years, it's going to be even like computers are essentially doing the editing. Like, I think it's going to be essentially a situation where you have like AI that's Siri, like, hey, make a clip out of this thing, use all 3 cameras,
scrub for this cadence, and then edit there.
Yeah, you kind of you can basically put in your like parameters, and it'll be done. You might have to do, someone kind of goes over it at the end, but
they could certainly take like the air out of it. Like, they could definitely work on cadence and eventually learn inflection and which take was better.
There's no reason an AI couldn't be cutting between cameras.
Yeah,
I guess it already can in Zoom, but that's the world we're about to live in.
the robotic cameras now. All right, Ryan, want to hang out? We'll take a break and do some news right after this. Hey, Chris, maybe you can find that Bryce Howard clip, because I have a thought, which is I've seen a lot of it, and I don't like it. The person, what drove me nuts about CNN when they're talking about COVID like 2 years ago is when they're going, this guy walked through a Costco and he pulled his mask down. They didn't bother me. The hysterical Dr. Shrew who was trying to scare America didn't scare me. It would always be the anchor like nodding their head like, oh my goodness. And I always wanted to go, so what? You have any evidence? Big whoop. Now you take it off to eat Funyuns and then you put it back on like that. When Bryce Howard was talking about, like I said, as a woman, we come in all shapes and sizes, she always has a skinny bitch nodding next to her. Mm-hmm. They need me or Ryan sitting next to them going, well, the dude lost the pounds. You're not exactly Tinkerbell.
Sure.
Look, you're getting $10 million. You think you could take it easy on the curried rice for just a couple of months? Like, have the person next to him disagree a little bit.
Come on.
Or at least be intellectually honest and get her to be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, fuck it, let him do it.
Right.
But there's none of that.
The news and blogs are just there to be instigators. They're they're very, it's like a...
Tell me more.
It's like a catty chick that you're dating.
Just
it's
between
like,
us gals.
Just so you know, your dad was kind of talking about it, you know?
Yeah,
That's them being like, really? You see what white people have been kind of saying about you? Like, they're
called
instigators.
triangulation.
Yes.
Totally. Well, since we were talking about computers and hacking and pranks, let's start with this. So there's this video that is going very, very viral right now. Passengers aboard an American Airlines flight from LA to Dallas earlier this month were thrown into this very, they were thrown into a state of confusion, a little concern, when a strange noise began emanating from the plane's public announcement system, and no one could figure out what it was, where it was coming from, how to stop it. This guy, Emerson Collins, in this now viral video, shows this bizarre series of moans and groans. It suddenly fills the cabin. He describes it somewhere between an orgasm and vomiting. So I have two clips. In the first clip, you hear the flight crew addressing the passengers.
Whenever I make love,
is that what they say?
One will orgasm and one will vomit.
Oh.
I'm not saying if it's me or my lady friend, but it's always
always the same.
One of each.
That's right.
Always the cadence.
Well, this is them, and then the passenger, Emerson, sort of questioning what he's hearing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we realize there is an extremely irritating sound coming over the public announcements. The flight deck is trying to troubleshoot, trying to turn it off. So please be patient with us. We know this is a very odd anomaly, and none of us are enjoying it. So we do appreciate your attention just for a few more moments so we figure out how to turn it off. Thank you.
Who is having a puke yank?
Puke yank. So then in this next clip, you get a much more, you'll feel like you're there when you hear the sounds it's making.
Still going. Now they're getting creative.
So this is going on the entire flight. And what everyone's assuming is it's a prank. Somebody hacked into the intercom system, which people are like, yeah, that's funny, I guess, but if it can do this, how can it reroute us to fucking, it'd be kind of scary. That's not what American Airlines is saying, though. They said it's not that. They told KTLA News, our maintenance team thoroughly inspected the aircraft and the PSA system and determined the sounds were caused by a mechanical issue with the PA amplifier, which raises the volume of the PA system when the engines are running. So they're saying it wasn't a human, it wasn't a prank, it was just some malfunction that sounds like a dude puking while he's fucking?
That sounds like an excuse a guy puke wanking would make.
By the way, if you know that term, does that make you gay or super straight?
Oh, puking?
Yeah, because that's a new one on me. But that guy may have been gay.
I think there are people called refluxophiles that get off on
I feel like
vomit.
whenever something new sexually is introduced to me, like you never heard of, it's a gay move.
Oh,
I feel like I know most of the straight moves.
In fashion, it's usually the black culture, and in weird sex stuff, you think it's the gay culture?
I think in fashion, it's also a little the gay culture.
Yeah,
there may be some overlap there.
I see.
Here's an observation. I used to be scared of flying, and in my early career, when I had to fly, when I got into show business, I was nervous about it. And I would be nervous about what was going on outside of the airplane. Like I find myself seeing the wings flapping, you know, like I didn't know there's that much flex in the wing, you know, and the flaps, and also like weird actuators that would kick in that would scare you, like, you know, when the landing gear would pop, something like pop, you know. So it was like, I was constantly like, what's going on outside this airplane? Now I'm comfortable with the outside. It's the inside that's freaking me out.
The rabbit punches to the back of the head.
People fucking going nuts on airplanes. But the shift, like in the 50s and the 60s, you know, 70s, planes would, the outside of the plane was a concern. Now, there's no thoughts about that. It's really all the inside. Yes.
Kids will always find a way to use technology to fuck with adults. When I was in high school, there was the kid who brought the universal remote, you know, and he kind of hid it in like his pocket, his sweater pocket or whatever, and would fuck with the VC. You know, when the teacher tried to show a movie or a strip or whatever.
Nice.
Did some kid figure out a way to get it, like, you know, USB into the system or something? Because
I don't know.
That was my guess. Somebody with a soundboard on their phone.
It's not their explanation of
plane's not the place to mess around with that stuff either.
Thank you.
That's a federal crime.
We had a lady 2 flights ago the AC wasn't working in Miami. She just starts bawling her eyes out, and then she goes and like that, right? And then so basically all the paramedics come on, they take her off the plane, and then they go, all right, everybody off the plane, and everyone goes, this friggin' idiot.
Why did you have to get off the plane? Is it because the air was on the fritz, or because she was pulled off?
Probably some rule that they have that if someone has a medical emergency, they can't just be like, all right, get rid of her and then start it. So they start the whole thing off, they kick everyone off, and then we waited another 3 hours.
Because the medical situation was caused by something on the plane.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's an insurance issue. They're just, you know, you can't just graze over someone almost dying on the plane, I think, is the issue. But quite a debacle.
We have the Bryce Dallas Howard clip. I don't know what this is from.
BDH?
This is an interview with the Metro, and she's with one of her co-stars.
Oh, that's why I need her. If any of my friends or co-evers were sitting next to me, they'd just go, well, were you fat?
Yeah.
Well, it seems weird if you got to run. And how about the guy super jacked? He's into your fat ass?
This is going to bleed into normal life, too. Your chick coming home, putting on 50 pounds, and you're going to be like, 50, huh? And the black girl's like, you got a problem with that?
From behind the drapes, a sassy black woman. I go, you don't need to get into this. I know plenty of guys being,
What is she doing here?
She's nodding when she's supposed to nod, and then every once in a while, he said I need a no, he did not. Like, you just bring it, You just do a cross. You do a plus sign with your chin. You do the nodding and the and then when the thing comes up and he told me I would look better if I lost it. No, you didn't.
They're pulling it off though. You know, it's them.
By the way, it's always ironic when the chick is super skinny who's doing the Don't let anyone tell you how to live.
It's also offensive to the rest of us normies when Bryce Howard looks pretty fucking good.
I think she looks good too. But here's what I will say. I mean, you know, my theory on this. Some people, when they put on a couple of pounds, it shows in their face. She's a person that can get a little thicker in the face, and so you have to be a little abnormally skinny because your face is on camera, and the camera adds 10 pounds, so you look kind of bloated when you're actually not. So those people, opposite of Kirstie Alley. That's why Kirstie Alley and Adele were able to balloon up to 250 pounds, because every time they'd see themselves on the TV, they'd go, I look fine.
I look the same.
Yeah.
Well, a little farther.
I feel like they are. If you go, whatever you look like, if you're going to put it on, it is good to sell. Like, that's why dudes were able to convince girls that dad bod was a thing for.
Yeah.
Like, there was a while where we go 30 pounds overweight.
That's
for
the
Gina,
spot.
But that was some work.
Fuck that.
Kardashians have been able to convince people that
thick with 2 C's.
They pulled that off. Did it trick you? I remember 6 years ago, literally looking at
you up.
Yeah.
You talk.
This is what they look like now. Girls will show up and they go, new girls will be like, look at those fake lips. And we go, shut up, no lips. This is what a girl looks like now. There's been some changes.
That's right.
No, you didn't.
Listen, Adam, agreeing with you.
Also, girls have one leg now.
So
Want to take the weight off quick?
I grew up the opposite of this woman. I grew up with people in my family going, huh? What are you talking about?
Shut up.
It's never happened to me.
Makeup is done. Yeah. I also, you know what the new style is? Us ladies are walking around with food on our shirts.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Yeah, Lizzo.
I stopped wiping.
Lizzo's the new paradigm of beauty. And if someone told her to lose it,
visible Band-Aid on face. What are you doing?
That's right.
That's what a movie star looks like
Fecal
now.
matter painted, a crucifix painted from fecal matter.
I smell bad. You go, this isn't even related. Stole your money. That's part of a woman now.
All right, sorry, Gina.
Well, a little farther away from Earth, you know how your theory, which I think is apt and correct, about how we don't really give a fuck about the majesty of space anymore. We see all kinds of unidentified who's and what's and nobody gives a shit.
We don't care about aliens because we're narcissists.
Right. Well, we're also, I guess, bored if it isn't, I don't know, part of Super Mario Brothers, or maybe that's just at my house, because NASA successfully defeated an asteroid. And it doesn't seem like people give a shit. I'll show you. Monday, this historic test.
I heard about it, but no, you're right. Nobody gives a shit.
This seems simultaneously futuristic and very archaic. But just because of, I think, all the movies we've seen. But
I'm more concerned about NASA destroying ableism. That's more what I'm
Well, this was kind of a test run on, like, how do we do the Space Force? What will that look like? This is the agency DART, Double Asteroid Redirection Test. It was carried out the first of its kind on a very small and harmless rock known as Dimorphos, which is about 6.8 million miles from Earth, just to see if we could do it. NBC News reports that $325 million went into this mission, designed to see whether nudging an asteroid can alter its trajectory. Apparently it can. So the DART spacecraft, which is about the size of a vending machine, crashed into the rock at 14,000 miles an hour. A camera aboard DART captured it, but in a really choppy way. But it's kind of cool. Let's watch it. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it goes away.
What's in the vending machine again, Gina?
That's the DART.
But what's in the vending machine? You said they shot a vending machine at it.
Gunpowder. Yeah.
In Canada, DART missions when you go to get a carton of smokes from the res.
Awaiting visual confirmation.
So they hit it.
They hit it?
And they knock its trajectory off.
That's right.
Can we do one? Because I know, and this is, look, Armageddon, one of the best films ever made, is based on this premise.
Right.
But they got to send a drilling rock hounds up there, you know what I mean, to drill into it. But they can't. It makes sense to me to knock it off its trajectory.
Sure.
Bump.
But you think we'll get the technology just to nudge it into like China?
Oh,
very specific.
Redirect it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to be verbal about it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, we hit it, but not quite hard enough.
Operation You Know Where.
Yeah, and then we could essentially take out any of our enemies with a act of God.
Right.
Force majeure. You guys don't have that in China?
Doesn't get more force majeure than an
Must have
asteroid.
a word for that.
Yeah, you must have something.
Yeah, we were aiming for the hole with the pool ball, but
We just kind of missed.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
like where
we
your head's
wish
at.
it didn't hit the Earth at all, but it just kind of caught Russia.
Yeah. If it
You know
takes
what I
out an
mean?
enemy, it takes out an enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is for you, Adam. This is something I know that this all seems very alertist, but this is something you're going to want to get on soon. So if your favorite part, like Adam's favorite part of Thanksgiving, is the cranberry sauce, you're going to be in for a world of hurt this year. Because we're headed for a major cranberry shortage.
Is there another fake shortage?
No, and I'll tell you why.
The Twinkie.
The New York Post. No, this is not a
Jurassic Park actor
marketing,
ate it all.
The New York
She
Post.
bogarted all the cranberries and Twinkies.
Fucking assholes. Reports that a severe drought has hit all of Massachusetts, basically, which is apparently where the cranberry comes from. They've had
ocean
so
spray
much
guy.
dry heat. People's water's getting all used up. Very difficult to harvest a cranberry this year. So do what you got to do. Maybe grab a couple cans just in
They've been
case.
stepping on it with the cran apple in commercial flights for the last 2 decades.
That's probably
Mike August always wants a cranberry. and
crangerale.
It's cran apple.
He likes to make the crangerale.
There's no such thing as getting just cranberry juice.
What does he mix it with?
Yeah, ginger ale.
The crangerale.
The crangerale. He's invented a drink.
It's really good.
Sounds all right.
Yeah, it's really
It's
good.
a little diabolical because you get one can for free.
That's right.
But then he just announces that he's going to make his own concoction at 30,000 feet. So they have to give him two.
Yeah.
So now he gets two. I should do that with my Miller Lite.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got a new Miller Lite drink where I mix half of each.
It's called a double Miller.
Here's $4, but I'm gonna need two cans, just one glass. I like to go 50-50 on
Yeah.
the mix.
Call us a 7 and 7.
Yeah, that's right.
One of the most embarrassed I've ever been in a restaurant was when my girlfriends decided to play the waitress at the famous Mexican place on Beverly. Doesn't matter.
El Coyote.
Thank you.
Wow.
By saying we all want margaritas with ice on the side.
That's a little more margarita
I
right
was
there.
so embarrassed to be at this table.
Yeah.
Because that's a double free margarita.
Right.
Yeah.
The Isis place is about,
That's
40%.
exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be that guy.
No, do.
There was I think it was like a coffee shop, and my buddy asked for a soda, and he goes, no ice, and they go, that's $1 more.
Oh, they caught
on. That's
and
good.
you go, $1 more. So you're admitting that the ice is a scam.
Yes.
Like you're.
The iced coffee, when they just scoop that cup in,
That's what it was. Sorry,
and
iced coffee.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They're dumping 4 ounces
Yeah.
of coffee, and it goes right to the top. Yeah,
Yeah,
And
it was
the
an iced coffee, not a soda.
The
yeah.
room for cream is 3 inches
That's
at the
right.
top, like
How
a
much
cone
room
of
for
dairy. No, I'm
That's
like,
right.
no room for cream. Now, I put cream in, but I'll sip a little room if I need a little room. Thank you
Smart.
very much.
Thank you.
Oh, that's the biggest scam in the book.
That's really,
Yeah.
well, and then there's those TikTok videos of like I'm making this up because I can't remember exactly, but like the small and the medium at McDonald's are exactly the same amount. Like
Oh, really?
you take them and you pour them into 2 cups and it fills up the same amount.
Well, Mike is gaming the system with his cranberry ale.
Good.
Yeah.
Let him.
But he can't get cranberry juice. That much I know.
Well, that's a travesty.
He should tell him he has a yeast infection and just insist.
He's a UTI.
A UTI, sorry. I have honeymoon cystitis. I either need, or we're going to have to land this fucking plane, or you're going to have to find, you have a centrifuge where you can remove the apple juice from the cranberry juice somewhere in the galley.
It's good.
Yeah.
You gotta take your scams when you can get them.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we thought we were done with the Tiffany Haddish saga.
Mm-hmm.
The
Funny
now
or die.
woman and brother who had accused her of molestation from that pedophile sketch, and they apologized, and the case was dropped, and we thought we'd moved on. Well, Tiffany is out of work now these days. She said, despite the case being dropped, she told TMZ, "I lost everything. All my gigs are gone."
And I think, yes, I heard that some of the Hollywood reps were saying that, you're not supposed to film it.
Well, despite the case, so asked if the dismissal would change things, she said, "I don't know. I don't have any jobs." In a separate video, Tiffany said she's relieved the lawsuit was withdrawn and that she was concerned about the kids and making sure they were okay. And asked about Ari Spears, what he thought of the situation, she said, "I don't talk to him." So,
New phone, who does?
yeah.
Well,
So now she's not working.
Well, it's what we always kind of talk about, which is everyone is so replaceable if that's what you're going to do. And I like Tiffany, and I think she has talent, but no, there's a handful of actors who really, you need that actor, very interchangeable. I mean, Crystalia was replaced by Tig Notaro, for Christ's sake. I would just have that on a sign, like the motivational sign under an eagle. You know what I mean? Like in my office, if I was a casting director, and it would say, Crystalia was replaced by Tig Notaro. You don't think we can replace your ass?
Yeah, you're useless.
Drop the attitude. You know what I mean? Boom.
The slice of actor actress who cannot be replaced is very thin, because if you look at Kevin Spacey, Oscar winner, legend, replaced.
I was going to say the same thing. How do you account for Louis C.K., who's by all means a brilliant comedian, and we just went away.
So here's what it is. So
he's back in the new world order.
If you wonder why everyone in Hollywood is constantly sucking up to whatever the new woke shit is going on, is because they're on a full-time campaign constantly to suck up all the time, because if you're replaceable, if everyone in the factory is replaceable, then it's about who the boss likes the most.
Right.
You know
and then
what I mean?
on top of that, it's like the boss, you work at McDonald's and the boss is coming in, like he's on his iPad just looking at the new robot drink pouring machines. He goes, interesting, huh?
Flippy. Yeah. No, but then if the boss is a big Steelers fan, then fucking put a Steelers jersey on and show up. Yeah, get the terrible. And if he's a Ravens fan, then go get the Ravens jersey. I mean, that's how Hollywood works. And that's why you're like, what are these stupid fucking brainless actors immediately sucking up to like cause du jour and become an expert on whatever the thing is? Like, oh, they're sucking up, trying to stay in the good graces or whatever. Well, Tiffany Haddish is a good actress, but we don't need her. And so once the weird news gets out, like there's kind of the DUI where we go like, all right, we can kind of look the other way. And then sometimes there's the messy divorce or the whatever. But when it starts getting into Creepyville,
you get any stink on you like that.
We just go, yeah, it's just
not worth it.
We're good. And then you go, no, you don't understand the context. And we go, we don't need any.
Doesn't matter.
James Franco, A-list star.
Tell it on your YouTube vlog, which I recommend you start because that's your new career.
Right.
Well, and that's the funny thing. I immediately think of Sarah Silverman, who's by all intents and purposes a brilliant comedian and had been, and I don't say this pejoratively, I'm just using it because she's been woke for a while, and to go back into her history and find the Sarah Silverman program episode where she was in blackface, which was a smart episode, and she got kicked off a movie she was working on. So it's like, if you've already said no, I'm this person now. I'm not pretending to be that character anymore. Then you're still fucked.
And Tiffany's a stand-up, but I don't think she's Louis C.K. And so there's always room for the really strong, like we said, the excellence. And then there's a kind of like also rants.
If you got a cult following, they'll still
stay with you.
Right. So she's going to have to whatever. But there could be this thing that was a Zero Burger from 8 years ago, and that could be it.
That's what I'm saying.
With the acting career. Yeah. Unless she wants to generate her own vehicles. Right. And that's going to be the new world order.
Right. Do we have time for Gwyneth Paltrow naked?
Yes.
You know my favorite, going back in time one is the girls on Playboy. Like the Playboy bunnies have a podcast on the network, and they a lot of it is them talking about, we were treated like pieces of meat and this and that. And you're just like, you were part of a guy's harem for money, and you're like at no point while you're like removing his catheter to join your weekly orgy where you're like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm an intellectual. I should be treated as such.
You're part of a harem from a guy who publishes a magazine where people are naked. And then at some point you describe the harrowing story of he's laying in his bed expecting us to serve. Yeah, that's how that works.
You go, how long do you do it for? You go, 14 years.
I know. I was scared to leave. Like the guy can't move without a walker. I think you could outrun.
You could probably go out of there.
Yeah, you could have like tripped over a peacock running down the driveway, but that would have been about it.
Yeah, but to go back and be like, this guy was like kind of not a good guy. And it's like, oh, no shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of naked blondes, let's give a little happy birthday to Gwyneth Paltrow. She celebrated a big milestone by posing naked and covered in gold, which we'll show you. On Tuesday, the actress, and don't forget wellness mogul, turned 50 and marked the special occasion by wearing nothing but like half gold paint and half not gold paint. She had a bunch of these pictures put out, and then she wrote a blog, looking back at 50 years and her trials and tribulations. But remember, this isn't the first time she wanted to celebrate her birthday naked. 2 years ago, for her 48th birthday. Remember this picture? It looks like one of those like perfectly lit, Instagrammable nudie pics, and God bless her.
Pulling a Britney Spears out here.
That's right.
Let me say this. There are men who I've known, and there's women who I've known, and they're blessed with a nice physique.
Indeed.
They're just that way.
Thank you.
And my buddy Ray's blessed with a very nice physique. He looked fucking killer when he was 18, and when he was 50, he looked like the same dude, minus a little the size from like playing football or whatever, the 18-year-old version. The bones were all in the same place. There was you get no credit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this thing of like, look at me, I'm hot when I'm 50. Yeah, okay, show me when you're 38 and you're fucking pig, and then I'll tip my cap to you. But if you were a smoke show at 38, and then at 18, and then at 27, and at 41, there's a theme that's emerging, which is you got good bones, bitch.
Thank you.
You fucking are a shape. It's like calves and thighs. They just are what they are. Your waist comes in, your shoulders, you're naturally a little bit narrow. You have a bosom or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, you didn't do heroin and you didn't fucking get a job at a Pizza Hut. You didn't destroy your body. You didn't destroy your body. I am telling you, unless you just sort of eat yourself into oblivion, if that is your shape, that is your cut, that is who you are, that is essentially who you are.
Thank you.
Don't fucking expect us to stand up and cheer when you're 50. Now,
You
look
gotta go
at her.
70. She's gotta go 70. Like when J-Lo comes out with her photos, you're like, that's pretty good but 50's not that old.
Many men and women I know at age 50, provided they lived a normal life, basically look like they looked.
And on top of everything you said, can we please have the Gwyneth Paltrow types stop coming out against plastic surgery? Like people, not everybody.
Is she?
Well, I think there's been comments about like I'm all natural. I've never done that. Well, congratulations! Like you clearly won the lottery.
Yeah, you have a beautiful little impish nose, then you don't need a fucking nose job.
Yeah.
But I got a hump on my back, bitch. And
if there's a little money and a little time, we too
I can't make
help.
it into the back of the Uber, so
That's
I
right.
need the fucking hump removed.
She doesn't want any more people entering the game. She goes.
Yeah, she's
like,
two
let's
things.
get rid of the cheat codes because I'm looking pretty good.
She needs no plastic surgery, and she has a certain cut. Like people. Something that took me, I discovered this pretty early on. People just have a cut. They're just cut in a shape like no different than a car. And we're trying to fucking turn this Pontiac Aztec into a Corvette. And we're like, Pontiac Aztec, why aren't you working hard? It's like, I'm working. Well, you don't look at the Corvette. Corvette, what do you do? Nothing.
That's just me.
I just hang out. Why can't you be more like the shapely Corvette Pontiac Aztec? You're lazy. And then at some point, God forbid, the Pontiac Aztec has a piece of cheesecake with there. Wow, now this
look how
is
slow you are now.
The problem is
sputtering.
Yes, it's just people have a shape. Who do you know? Other than the handful of people that Brian lost weight.
That's right.
Nice.
Everyone I know has basically just had the same shape. Some they gain a little weight, they lose a little weight, they work out a little, they modify.
Right.
When was Gwyneth Paltrow anything other than Gwyneth Paltrow? You could find a 16-year-old picture of her, and she'd look reasonably like the 50-year-old version because that's her cut.
Thank you. And as someone who's shtetl shaped, I really appreciate you saying all of this.
Shtetl shape, measuring the marigold. Is that the song?
What is that?
Edelweiss?
Inchworm. Well, it's Edelweiss. Edelweiss ripped off Inchworm. No, Inchworm may have ripped off Edelweiss.
I'm thinking maybe that Edelweiss wasn't the ripoff.
Inchworm. But the philosophy of the song is powerful. I think it's going to help you,
Thank
Gina.
you.
Inchworm, measuring the marigolds. Seems to me you'd stop and see how beautiful they are.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Got a little lump in my throat.
You stop. It's just crawling along. He never stops and realizes I'm in this paradise.
Thank you. Bryce Dallas Howard did have a point, didn't she, Adam?
They're your shape.
I concur.
And the reality is the people who don't have that shape can work super fucking hard and be super fucking disciplined and do something about it. But you're asking these people to go above and beyond to get to half the shape that God made Gwyneth Paltrow in, except for we all want advice from her about how she got into that shape.
That's right.
That's the fucked up part of our society.
Dawson would tell you just have a 6-pack of tacos. You'll look just like me.
That's right.
We should be so lucky.
Yes.
Well, girls can get away with it a little bit more, though, being like, I just want to post a nude photo of me, and it's like, oh, this is to celebrate because I'm actually so old. If you did that and you were You got like, you know what I mean? People be like, it seems like you kind of wanted to post a photo with your shirt off. You know what I mean?
You know what I think? Why, if there was an emphasis on the ball sack? You know what I mean? It's like Tommy Lee with his huge hog. This guy with his big dick. John Hamm with his big dick. Everyone with their big dick. If there was a big ball category, I would dominate, dude. I'd fucking crush John Hamm.
You got a nice set?
They're big. They're prodigious. Yeah.
I have medically big balls.
Wow.
Yeah, you do. No, you didn't.
They did a surgery to make them smaller, and the surgery didn't take.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
They're that big?
Wow. Don't be a one-upper.
It's like the stuff that fell down into the balls, and then the doctor's like, we'll do a surgery to get rid of it. They did the surgery, and then it didn't work, and he goes, just leave them.
You had prolapsed testicles?
Is that no? I think stuff from my stomach fell down.
That's what I'm saying. It prolapsed.
Wow.
Well, that's being said, though, I have mine are sort of augmented in that sense. Where if yours are just natural, just the ball, not the stuff, then
yeah, I hate the guys with the augmented balls talking all the time with us natural sack guys, like they had to work extra hard for their sack.
Right.
I had to add some extra stuff souped up from the stomach. I'm sort of juicing a little bit, is what it's.
Wow.
Yeah, the sack's big, but if you want to go actually ball to ball, you might be beating me.
Well, the only
I'd
way
like to see
really
volleyball.
we have to do the water displacement test because that's. I mean, we could pull out a yardstick, but we really have to do a displacement.
That's so fun. Yeah, it's the measuring, but you got it from just the ball.
Tell them how you measure.
Your girl
penis,
goes, what do you measure? You go about 7 inches. She goes, oh, that's big. You go, oh, you meant dick? I was talking ball.
I was talking sack. The only accurate way to measure dick is not with the yardstick because you can push that in your abdomen and buy like 3 inches. I use yarn and I go center of the anus, once around the balls, just past the tip, and then I lay that down.
It's the only accurate way to measure it.
Yeah. That's the way I measure my dick.
Or you go from the front to the back of the guy's tongue. That's a good way to...
Why? Yes, no. Anyway, Gwyneth Paltrow gets no credit.
No, and one of my favorite Amy Schumer jokes was something to the effect. Remember, she posed naked, and she goes, "The one word you don't want to be called when you pose naked is brave."
Yeah.
That's a great joke.
It's true, but there's like Rachel Dratch, there's Amy Schumer, the Gwyneth. They just
you just
that's
are.
Just them. That's just them.
Yep.
And by the way, no one really talks about it, but that's why we love them so much because we're like, God loves you. Yeah. God loves you. Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate tip of the cap.
No effort.
Nature, God, whoever.
Yeah.
They fucking love you.
Yeah.
Yes. Who else has that?
No, basically, and girls, if they have a bad look and they take their clothes off, they get called brave. If a guy has a bad look and takes his clothes off, it gets called funny. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring her home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. Can't wrap you too much goo.
Gina That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, I'll be at the Hollywood Improv with my stand-up friends October 19th, doing a show there, and you can go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. Ryan Long's going to be at Hilarities in Ohio, and October 2nd. Then the 3rd and 4th of October, Zany's Comedy Club in Chicago, Illinois. Go to RyanLongComedy.com, and The Boys Cast with Ryan Long is the podcast. Available wherever you listen to finer podcasts. Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah.
Always funny.
Oh, it's the best. You guys are awesome.
So, till next time, Adam Carolla for Ryan Long and Gina Grad and Bob Bryan. Say it. Mahala.